we're piling the wood up.
Should we rewind it back to the start? Do we want to get this off? We're good.
And those are, okay, now the tobacco seed has blossomed and produced plants. And now we're picking the plants out from the ones that are big enough to transplant.
1, 2.
Why do you have to transplant them?
3.
Like it went from a nursery to, I guess.
Yeah.
You couldn't just put the seeds in the field? I guess because you couldn't put
Oh,
that
no.
tarp and everything over it.
They're so tiny. And see how thick they were. And then they have to be transplanted to have room to grow.
Oh, I
Now
see.
is this fertilizer, Billy? This
Yes.
is what we're doing. Is this before they're transplanted or after? I don't see
Make the
it.
rows, right? Get the rows ready.
They're making that. See, we're taking the canvas off and see how thick and full they are with plants. And they pull the plants and put them in the basket, and they're going to the field to be transplanted.
Holy cow. That was a lot of work.
I
didn't realize it was that much work.
Now, with each time, these two guys are sitting on the transplant, and each time they drop a plant in the ground, they drop some water in also. Billy, you rode the transplanter one time. Am I remembering that correctly? A little water each time with each plant.
Yes.
Oh, and here's the owner's
That's
son
me, I think.
walking along with Fred, probably.
Filling in the empty holes?
Yeah, if this is a place that the plant got mangled in the process. Now it's grown a little bit, and it's time to plow it. There's Fred again,
Why are you plowing it?
to keep the weeds out.
Keep the weeds off the weeds.
What is that?
Don't get weeds mixed up.
Now what are we doing here,
It's a little
Billy?
side thrashing.
Getting up, hey,
Oops, that looked like it almost messed up.
Yeah. Oh, there's Buck Boone,
yeah.
and that's our
The
uncle.
big guy here?
Uncle Jake with the original Dixon stomach.
Whose uncle was he?
Our uncle. There's Uncle Jake.
Was
Yeah,
that
actually,
Daddy
he was
Tom's
Daddy's.
Is
brother?
that Jake?
He was Daddy's uncle.
Yeah.
And there's Dad.
Yeah, yes, there's
Oh,
one.
You've got a hat on.
look at
I
that.
always
You
had.
don't have a tie, though.
Yeah.
He's admiring the tobacco, seeing how it's growing.
See how they cut the flowers off?
Mhm.
Because all the ones we see now have the flowers. When did they do that? What time of year?
Should be doing that now, right?
Anytime now.
Does they
Anytime-
grow more once the flowers get started?
Anytime there's a flower on top, you cut it off because the strength goes to the leaves then.
Leaves.
See, there's the EEOC version of being protected from the poison. They're spraying poison to get rid of those worms that will come in and eat the leaves.
And so that little plastic thing.
So
over
he had actually a white handkerchief.
You want to see the back of it?
But,
Hailstone.
oh, this is after a hailstorm damage.
Smoking while he's picking the. Classic.
And I've got lonesome shirt on, so thick. You don't
Smoke
want
him if
to
you got him, right?
roll the tobacco gum on your corn.
So they had to pick the damaged leaves after the
Those are
hailstorm?
mules, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But this is another field that wasn't.
that was just another field that was damaged.
We'll walk. I know a place we can shoot a turkey if you want turkey for dinner.
Oh, you saw that?
Okay, now see the sides of those, that's a tobacco truck, and they're taking that from the field. And those, the fertilizer
You
bags,
had your own set of migrants there.
they
Now, what are the
use,
teepees?
there were no migrants, they lived there.
What are those little cone things?
So what are the
out
things
This
that
is,
look like
this
teepees
is
in
free.
the field,
This is
Juanita?
free
I don't
welfare
know.
when they had to work.
Do you know Juanita?
I
That's right.
didn't get a good
You got
look
it.
at it.
There's about 40%
Well,
working in
No,
the
they
US,
just
and the rest
take-
of
they
them
just
are,
pull
I
out.
remember this part.
They just
Yeah.
pulled this truck up, and
Were they that quick?
these are
Yeah, you saw
the,
that being done.
there
I
were-
remember, didn't you do it, Diane,
Yeah,
one
they
summer?
were. This is not speeded
Tom-
up.
I did one.
Tom and Diane did it one summer. They were not that fast. But I remember watching them. Steve and I were running around
Mhm.
causing trouble.
Look at all of them in
Problem.
dresses doing that.
Are they really that?
So that's that same building.
Yeah.
That's.
Now, I don't know if you could see, there's a picture of the woman looping. That was quite a skill to loop that tobacco onto. You handed her about 3 leaves.
The women in dresses are doing all the manual labor there.
And you're
Well, the
plugging
men
in.
are up and putting it up in the racks, right in the
Yeah,
house.
they were giving them equality back then.
Tom did that too.
I
Tom
did that
climbed
too.
up in the racks. Did
You
you do
gotta
that too,
climb up
Steve?
there. I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
this
I've done
She
that.
wouldn't let me do
Have
that.
you really?
we're going to check
Many
on the
years ago.
tobacco in the
See
barn.
smoke coming out of it.
It's a job.
How many times would a barn like that catch on fire and burn to the ground?
They just hand it up to you like
Whatever
that. You
you
gotta
say.
get the picture.
Is that a 24-hour job right there, sitting there and putting on?
We never had a tobacco barn to catch on fire, but the pack house caught on fire once with the whole crop in it.
Oh wow.
Bill,
It's
it's
all
still
dried
one
up.
barn.
That
right
one
there.
right there, yeah.
There's
Caught on
that's the-
fire?
That burned to the
They're,
ground?
they're taking it out of the barn. It's going into the old pack house that burned down. And they they pile it down in the pack house to get,
There's the green one going in and the brown one coming out.
well, they
Out
put
of
it
the
in
barn or
ordering
out of the
pit
pack
to
house?
get order, to
Barn.
get enough moisture on it.
So why does it go to the barn first and then the back up?
Yeah.
I had to straighten them out on that in
They
Williamsburg
put
one
fast on it.
time. They were showing us around this place and showing the tobacco farm, and they said there's a hole in the ground here that we never have understood what it's for.
Ordering pit.
And I told him, I said, that's an ordering pit. What? He never heard of that.
It's a what?
Ordering.
Ordering
And
pit.
your penny.
In order. In other words, get the dew and the moisture in.
Get enough,
Ah.
because the tobacco's so dry you can't work with it when it comes. See, it goes in that barn to be heated, to cooked. We call it curing tobacco. And it's, what is it, a week that it takes to cure it usually, Billy, and then it's taken out.
It was in there for a week.
Here they're gonna put it, there's the ordering pit.
Now they put moisture back in it.
Yeah.
Why,
After they
to
dry it
increase
out?
the weight?
Yeah, it
That makes
soaks
sense,
up
doesn't
the
it?
moisture from the ground down
And
in
then they grade it.
And it
Oh, yeah.
makes it flexible enough that you can work with it. See, they're grading it and tying it.
Because they
They're,
to sell certain grade.
Yeah.
But I think
And they
Lot of work with
usually,
it, tobacco.
they usually sit inside the pack house at these benches to do that, but they brought him out so they could take the picture. Because they didn't have any spotlights. They didn't sit out in the hot sun and do that.
Who videoed
Well, the pack house would be hot.
Yeah,
Who videoed this? Who took this film?
Daddy,
But he was in it.
my daddy. Well, I don't know.
He let somebody else.
Did you handle the camera in those days?
What?
They were saying who took the video, who took the pictures. And Daddy took most of the pictures, but he was in some of the pictures. So somebody else must have.
Were you photographer, Billy?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Now, if you notice, this tobacco that they were putting on the truck was tied, wrapped around the top. They'd taken one of the leaves and wrapped it around the top. Now, the big day, they're taking it off to
That
the
big truck,
warehouse
look at that old truck.
to sell it.
That truck worth a lot of money right
Oh,
now.
the warehouse is still there.
It's top deal,
Is it?
too.
This is inside the
An
warehouse.
antique.
But this was inside, so the picture
What town or city was this?
Wilson. Tobacco capital.
And see how the tobacco was piled up? They were very careful to
Suit
pile
and
it
tie,
up
yeah.
like that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of labor into that, and then they take it off and make
Very
cigarettes
formal.
out of
Yeah.
it.
It was, I mean, this is.
That's the
They're all
auction.
dressed in their finest Sunday clothes
Here,
there.
can you imagine how hot?
Oh my God.
Do you remember the names of those warehousemen, Billy? It was easily
That's it.
warehouse.
So what
I
time of
think
year
that
would
was in
that
Rocky
be?
Mountain.
You would do that.
Like August, right? Late
August.
August? Maybe early
What
September?
time of year would you actually be selling?
It would be in the fall.
Big day when the tobacco warehouse is open, and everywhere you went, there was new coins, new dollar bills, because it brought new money into,
money to the state, huh?
into town.
So that, I mean, those plants, you just take off the bottom leaves and let it keep growing, is that right? Where they,
You start at the bottom.
I mean, do they keep going season after season?
No, it's just 1 year. But you go through the field several times, and you take as they ripen from the bottom of the plant, you take the leaves from the bottom of the plant, and then you'll go through later and take the leaves from the middle of the
Over
plant.
about a 6-week period.
Yeah.
So what you
Did you
say,
mash
so you
some
go
of
through about 4 times to get all of
Yeah.
the back of the tips were
And
not
they
as
don't
good.
anymore.
The tips weren't as good.
Yeah.
What do they do now?
Well, of course, they run a machine through it.
The machine?
And
That was a big
they
day
take
when
off
they
the
went
bottom
from-
leaves, and then they come through and take off the middle, and then they come through and take off the top.
Even now with the machine,
Yeah,
they still do it in sections?
still do it.
Well, don't they also?
They don't worry about wrapping it anymore or putting
No.
holes in the leaves.
And they don't auction it. They don't. You saw the row of people walking along, and the auctioneer was in the front of that, and he was going, blah, 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 sold
Is the
American.
best.
And all the others following him were buyers, and they were, bidding on the auction.
But the tobacco, the burley tobacco is all by stalk, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the stuff up in the mountains of North
And
Carolina.
Now y'all
they
got a
hold
course
stalks
to
up.
that.
They chop the stalk
Growing
off
and
and
selling.
they drive the stalk by air.
So
Oh,
these
that's it,
these
Parker?
people that buy the tobacco and then what happens? It gets shipped to the cigarette manufacturers? Is that?
Yes.
Well, no, it goes through, they'll go into a place like in Wilson, if they buy it in Wilson,
Uh-huh.
where they'll regrade it and resort it and chop it up
Okay.
and bale it,
Oh,
put it in a hogshead. You know what a hogshead is? A big
okay,
barrel.
A hogshead is a measure of so many bushels.
Yeah.
okay.
And they'll put it in there. Then they'll ship it off to a place like Richmond, where they actually make the cigarettes.
Okay.
And there they'll blend it with tobacco from all over the world, you
Ah.
might say.
But of course, North Carolina tobacco's always
The
the best.
best.
Like the barbecue.
Still a lot of cigarette manufacturers in Richmond.
That's
I mean,
right.
That's still
Yeah. Well, this was,
Philip Morris and all them, they're headquartered in
Yeah.
Richmond. They've
Yeah,
got,
yeah.
still, even today.
Oh, yeah.
this
Well, and
was-
I knew some people consulting wise that went to work for Philip Morris, and at the end of the week, they'd still give everybody a carton of cigarettes.
That's
Well, they used to, when I went to Duke, they used
When was
to
it? Give them a death
pass them out to
certificate,
us
too.
when we
years
went to
ago.
the football games. There was somebody standing there, gave us a pack of 4 cigarettes. And the Mary Ann and I were talking about that. She remembers that they used to come and put them on our bed at night.
Really?
Cigarettes? Yeah.
In the dorm?
A little pack. Yeah. Somebody
Wow.
would hand out samples.
Might as well lay a loaded gun down there. Yeah.
Well, we really did not know that there was any harm in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We thought it was good because it
Ignorance is
relaxed
bliss.
you,
Right.
rested you. You know, it's better than taking drugs for ADHD.
Well, I still don't believe it's as harmful as they make out like it is. All this business you see about people that with their foot cut off and holes in their chest and such as that. This right here did not come from smoking cigarettes. It came from welding smoke and
Asbestos.
Industrial
dust,
industrial
that sort of
insulation.
thing. Asbestos from the construction business.
Well, I think it affects different people. Some people with, some people can smoke and nothing ever happened, and some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lung
it's-
cancer.
it's
I mean, there are people die of lung
don't
cancer every day that have
misunderstand,
never smoked a
but it
cigarette.
ain't as bad as.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Exactly what
Well, and Billy, you used to go cut stalks and harvest wheat and that sort of thing without any
Exactly, I
protection.
mean, all that dust, I've come in with the dust so thick on me
Yeah.
that I would take my clothes off at the back door, because I didn't want to come
Yeah.
into the old house.
Sounds like when I go fishing.
And I washed his clothes.
Sometimes they don't
separately.
stay at the back door.
Sometimes they walk by themselves.
No, not to defend tobacco, but at that time we did not know
No,
that it was
of course
as
not.
harmful as it. And it is harmful, no question about it.
And Duke was built with tobacco.
Yeah.
The statue of him with his big old cigar there.
And we were allowed to smoke in classes.
Oh, I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, can you imagine sitting in a
Remember
class?
smoking on an airplane?
Well,
flight
yeah,
and
yeah,
when
absolutely.
my office, like when
Oh,
I first started working,
yes.
everybody
Oh, yeah.
smoked and around.
We were in cubicles. My first job, we were in cubicles, and the
The
guy
guy beside me, on the other side, and in front and back, they all smoked, and it was just me. I was like, you know, you couldn't breathe. I'd go home from work and I'd stunk my hair, my clothes.
I have been to meetings out at Parker's where this barbecue came from. That would be a farm meeting, and everybody was smoking, and the smoke would be so thick that you literally could not see the ceiling.
Right,
it would
the
be
lights, yeah.
up there, you
Yes.
know, a foot or so of solid smoke.
Yeah.
But nobody paid any attention.
I've always thought that smoking is a procedure that you do. You get your cigarette pack out, you take them, you light it up, and do all this, the procedure of getting it in your mouth. I think that's what it's all about.
That was one of the ways I quit smoking.
Yeah.
Is I would take a toothpick because I was used to that procedure.
Procedure.
And I would take a toothpick and pull a toothpick out of a pack and play with it in my fingers. And
So
that
I'm
would,
not far off then.
no, that would satisfy that urge. And I still, I mean, people get annoyed with me because I sit and do this with my fingers. And see, if I were smoking, I would be holding a cigarette.
It's just something to do.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
All you young people listening to that.
But there was so much work that went into
I never
taking
realized there
the
was
tobacco to the market. I mean, all the hand detail,
yeah, yeah.
picking those plants, and transplanting them, and then keeping the weeds out of them and the worms away from them. And
How
then
many workers would you have on the farm?
well, we had 3 families, and who lived on the farm.
More than that, there were a total of 6.
That lived on the farm?
It's kind of like book boom and all that. There
Oh well, yeah.
were 6 different separate bunches of people.
There were, who was the one who lived down past the Jenkins Road down in that,
Buddy,
Buddy?
yeah,
And he had a bunch of kids.
yeah.
Daddy met one of his former tenants at the warehouse many years later, and he was saying he was so proud because he had a grandson. That was when Tommy was first born. And his tenant said, oh, he said, Tom, do you have any grandchildren? He says, yes, I have 80 head. 80 head of grandchildren. And that's the way people refer to having so many heads of cattle or horses or something. But he had 80 head of grandchildren.
Sounds like Eve's family.
Yeah. But,
But it's more related at that point in time to how many people could work, right? I mean, wasn't that
oh yeah, the children could work.
the
And
children
did.
could work? And
And Buddy lived down in that house down at the end of the road.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, where did Fred live?
I don't remember.
They built a little house for Buck Boone because Buck Boone was a white man who came to live. He had no teeth. And he came to cure tobacco, but he had a real talent for curing tobacco. And he lived on the farm, and Mother would make soup and send it to Buck because he couldn't eat with no teeth.
Coming down the highway was where Buddy lived in that house. And then the house is still there. One that's still there.
On the corner.
And then one down where my house was
Yeah,
built that we moved away.
yeah.
Moved down to Rodney's. Rodney's house was moved from where my house is
Yeah,
in order to build there. So there were those 3 there. And then Buck Boone's was over in
in the
the
grove.
middle of the grove. And then there was one down that path that was down towards the woods, down the path between us and the Jenkins farm.
Cameron, is that yours?
That makes 5.
Is that yours?
And there was a 6th one
A lot.
No, you can stop. I don't want this video.
But there was
gonna
another
take up too
one
much.
along
It's
the
almost
road
20 minutes.
next
So
to
you
the
can stop
Jenkins
now. That
farm.
would be a good thing.
Wasn't there way